All right, we're back with more breaking news, and it's flowing in, and I'm trying to read it as much as possible. We're talking about this Wall Street Journal, NBC News poll. Ben Carson has overtaken Donald Trump. He has surged into the lead in the Republican pack. He's getting 29% in this poll of the GOP primary voters. And keep in mind, this is the highest percentage for any of these GOP candidates thus far in this particular survey. Carson at 29, Trump at 23, Marco Rubio at 11, Ted Cruz at 10%, and Jeb Bush hanging in there by a thread at 8%. Carly Fiorina, Kasich, Huckabee, Christie, all at 3%. Rand Paul bringing up the rear at 2%. Mark and Tammy with me, and I think we also brought in Star Parker. Are you with us yet? Before we go to Star, Tammy.
Yeah.
We were talking here. You do the deep dive analytical stuff with this. Your assessment on Donald Trump is because he's been stuck in the 20s.
Yeah.
You see that as more of a negative than a positive.
Well, look, he's at 23 in this poll. He's been in most polls on an average between 23 and 25%. He's had tens of millions of dollars of free advertising. He clearly is a defined individual. We know who he is. He's not been able to break out as an individual past that emotional 23, 25%. And the same, I think, with Dr. Carson. You saw some moving up for him, but when you're at this point in the 20s, at this point, the year before the election, and you're not really breaking through, and you don't have numbers like 48 like Mr. Reagan did, then it's an indication that you're not convincing people. This is where Rubio, Cruz, and even Jeb Bush have an opportunity because look, it's a 5-point margin of error. They're effectively tied for 3.
Can we just say almost essentially the outsiders have half and the establishment almost have half?
Well,
not counting Cruz. Not counting Cruz. Let me bring in Star Parker. Star, the numbers have just come out. What I find fascinating are the groups that are behind Ben Carson, your value voters, your churchgoers, people who make less than $75,000. They want an outsider, but they want an outsider that they can trust. It feels like they've selected Ben Carson.
Who can do the job, yeah.
It looks like that. I have to agree with Tammy that they're consolidating behind outsiders because they're looking for something new. I mean, there's been a lot of fuel behind this Change Washington voice, and they want to stay with that. But Donald Trump was a little too loud, and Ben is a lot softer. But I have to agree that we're watching now Ted Cruz and Marco Rubio because they are rising in the polls. This is where the settlement is going between Cruz being able to capture that social conservative and Marco Rubio replacing for that Jeb Bush for that more moderate establishment vote.
Mark, a lot of people have said Dr. Ben Carson and Donald Trump are the same coin, opposite sides of the same coin. They represent that outside establishment vote. Could one of the other get one of the other guy's votes? In other words, if whatever reason one started to fade, would those voters automatically go to the other candidate, or would they actually find themselves back with the establishment?
No. And most of those voters, I think, if you take a look at take a deep dive in the polling, most of those voters will stay on the outside. They're going to stay with the Carson. They're going to stay with the Trump. But look, and I'm going to disagree with Tammy on this. There have never been 15 candidates running for a nomination. So you can't possibly expect one candidate to exceed 25, 26, 29% in a nationwide poll. Look, Charles, take a look at this. At this point, these candidates should be looking at money, media, and ground game. Let me give you one example. If you look at ground game, the toughest state in the country to get on the ballot is Virginia. Today, the Trump campaign announced that they have 3 times the number of ballot signatures required. They got 15,000 signatures 6 weeks early. And they did that to make a statement, to say, we're going to invest in a ground game in that state and all the states through Super Tuesday or through the SEC primaries.
He's going to have to start spending a whole lot more money.
A lot.
As this thing
that
goes
guy
on.
hasn't. Well, that's the other point. He hasn't spent any money yet.
Free publicity gets you so far, but you're the expert. Right. You know he's going to have to probably dig in his pocket. You guys were fantastic on this breaking news.